Let's say you spend 3 hours a day on your phone. 3 times 365 is 1,095 hours in a year, which in retrospect is 46 whole days. 46 full days that you spend on your phone, which you could have spent doing something else. How do you find this balance between social media and life? How do you do it? How do you have a healthy relationship with social media? Hi everyone, my name is Sharie, and today I'm going to be telling you guys how to have a healthier relationship with social media. Obviously, my relationship with social media isn't perfect, but I feel like over the past few years, I've kind of crafted it in a way that I don't scroll through mindlessly as much anymore. Recently, I've seen a lot of videos of people quitting social media, but this is for all the people who want to keep social media but want to find a better balance between their lifestyle and going on social media platforms, because let's face it, this generation heavily relies on social media. Obviously, not all these tips will work for everyone, so take as much as my advice as you need. Also, I'm going to be mostly talking about Instagram and TikTok, not YouTube. I've never had Snapchat, so I can't really talk much about that. But I will say, I have not felt like I've missed out by not having Snapchat. I feel like I don't need Snapchat. Yeah, so for those of you who have Snapchat, why are you still doing streaks? I'm just kidding. Okay, let's keep going. First tip is crafting your page. Crafting your social media page. Social media is such a useful tool when you make it useful. If it's useless to you, how can you make it useful to you? How I've done that personally is on Instagram, I've followed a bunch of accounts that I found interesting and that I found serve me. Instead of me serving to the app serves me now. I will be listing a bunch of accounts probably on the screen or down below, and following those accounts have been super helpful in crafting my page and crafting my feed. So the first thing I see when I open Instagram is an inspirational quote rather than a post from a random influencer who I don't really feel good about looking at, you know? And that's the next question. If you're crafting your page, how do you avoid posts from people that you don't want to see as often? And that's the next answer: unfollowing or muting. If following this certain person on Instagram isn't making you feel good about yourself, remove them from your page. It's as simple as that. I don't know, maybe it's more complicated for you guys, but seriously, I've muted more than half of my following stories because I don't feel like those stories or viewing those stories are serving me. You're not obligated to interact with everyone's posts. You're not obligated to view everyone's stories, and you are definitely not obligated to comment or hype every single person up. It's okay. It's okay to stop interacting with every single photo you see on your feed. If it's more of a burden, don't do it. Do it because you feel like it. Don't do it because you feel obligated to do it. And yeah, so I like stories when I actually like them, and I interact with posts when I feel like it. I don't just interact with posts because I'm afraid that they're going to be like, oh, why didn't you comment? Or, oh, why didn't you like? And if anything, that says a lot more about them than about you. Like, why are they expecting you to hype them up when you can compliment them in real life? If anything, that means more than just commenting on social media. If you're afraid of doing this still, and if muting isn't enough to clean your feed, my advice is to create a separate account on Instagram, because I feel like a lot of people on their main accounts are like afraid of missing out. So if you really want to just clean your feed and just get rid of that altogether, just create a separate account for you to scroll on, because that way you're more in control of what appears on your feed and who you follow on that separate account that's just for you. And as for TikTok, it's kind of the same deal. Engage with videos that motivate you, engage with those study motivation videos, and stop engaging with those mindless scrolling videos. The next tip is to turn off your notifications. I've had my notifications off for the past many years. I don't even know how many. And I forget that people have their notifications on still, so I almost didn't write this as a tip. But yeah, turn off notifications. Go on social media when you want to. Don't go on social media based on notifications. And I also feel like it's so much more beneficial because instead of basing your happiness off of how many notifications you get, you don't. My next tip is to stop using social media when you wake up in the morning. I use a manual alarm clock, but I forget how many people go on their phone first thing in the morning just to look at notifications and check messages. I'm gonna ask you guys this. When have you ever felt good after looking at your phone first thing in the morning? Yeah, it's not the best, and I feel like it's just terrible. It's just I don't know, it's just such a terrible start to your day. Like, the first thing you look at is like posts in your phone when there's, I don't know, a whole morning routine you could do. You could have gone outside and had some fresh air, which is so cliche, but it's so much better than just going on a device first thing in the morning expecting it to make you feel happy, when at the end of the day you won't feel happy from going on that device. Let's be real about that. My next tip is about stopping your reliance on social media in public. I see so many teenagers outside on their phones all the time. When you're in a socially awkward situation, what do? We go on our phones. And I think something that's really taught me to avoid that is I never have mobile data. Pretty much, my parents never gave me access to mobile data, which means I can only have access to social media when I ask for the Wi-Fi password or when I ask for hotspot. Meaning I can't just go on social media in the car, I can't just go on social media when I'm out or in events, and I can't just post whenever I'm out. To be honest, not having mobile data wherever I go is such a good tip because it forces me to get out of my comfort zone and look up from my phone. Look up and see what's going on and find people to interact with, rather than going to social media as your, safety box. I'm kind of forced to find other ways to entertain myself. One of my worst pet peeves is when I'm having a conversation with someone and they go on their phone and they just scroll through Instagram stories. What? Like, I'm having a conversation with you, but you choose to just mindlessly scroll through a bunch of these stories that I know don't even make you feel good. I feel like social media has its benefits with being able to have conversations with people, but it also gets in the way of real life conversations, which is really, really sad because it prevents us from interacting with people. The next 5 tips are actually called challenge tips. The first 3 tips were like practical tips that you can do right now, but now I'm gonna go into challenging tips that you can implement in your life if you really, really want to have that healthy relationship with social media.